What else could we be forgetting?
Kevin!
Iconic Canadian actress and comedian Katherine O'Hara has died at the age of 71. What we're learning about her sudden passing, that's coming up.
An outpouring of love from Hollywood all the way back to her hometown, Toronto. How fans and fellow stars are remembering O'Hara's life and legacy.
An urgent search underway for a missing senior man last seen last night. The clues Toronto police are following.
And the coldest days of winter are taking over. A live look at the city this hour. How people across the city are getting through it. That's coming up.
This is Live at 5.
Hello, I'm Sejal Liu.
I'm Liz West. Welcome to Live at 5. Canadian actress Katherine O'Hara is being remembered tonight after her death today at age 71.
The Toronto-born and raised comedian giant is best known for her roles in the iconic movies Home Alone and Beetlejuice, and more recently for the TV shows Schitt's Creek and The Studio. She got her start at Second City, Toronto.
That's where we find CP24's Melissa Duggan this evening. She joins us live from Second City right on Harbour Street with more on how O'Hara is being remembered, and certainly she's being remembered by many.
Oh, definitely. And she really made her mark here, Liz and Seja, at Second City. This is where she got her start. She actually started here as a waitress at Second City Theatre. Not at this location. This is the brand new location that Second City has opened, but in the original one. And by the way, they do have so many mementos from that original Second City Theatre here, including the original hardwood floors that the likes of Katherine O'Hara, her fellow stars like John Candy, like Eugene Levy performed on. Just a symbol of how she is just ingrained in what it means to be a funny Canadian, a comedian with such an iconic library of films that she has, just really made her mark with. When you see her on the screen, it is unmistakable. Through the 70s, she performed at SCTV. That is what just launched her into superstardom. From there, you made a long list of all of the films, the TV shows that she's been in, that she's been performing in right up until recently. Thinking of The Last of Us, The Studio, two of the biggest shows out there right now, and she had key roles in them. Off the top, I know you played that clip of her in Home Alone saying Kevin. I think everyone can hear that in their head right now. Just remembering just those real moments that she had for so many generations with that career that spanned some 5 decades. But we're really looking back at her time here at SCTV at Second City Theatre, where she made her mark. Here's how Second City Toronto's artistic director is remembering her.
It's a loss for all of us, I think. She has such an iconic comedic voice and is woven into the fabric of so many people's comedy history. Her film and television work, her work on stage, even as recently as The Studio. She's a talent who continued to bring incredible work.
I know it meant a lot to her to stay connected to the Second City through the advisory board and continuing to foster new talents and new voices in comedy. I think this place meant a lot to her, and I think being from here meant a lot to her, and getting to come back here and work here on a show like Schitt's Creek recently was meaningful to her, and she was meaningful to us as well.
And he mentioned Schitt's Creek there, of course. That's just another stellar role, an award-winning role that she just kind of knocked it out of the park. I mean, what a performance that we saw from her season after season with that wild character of Moira Rose. Can I show you what you'll see at Second City when you walk in right now? This was the case before we learned about the tragic passing of Katherine O'Hara. When you would walk in here on any day, you would see her photo in one of many of that original cast from SCTV, like the John Candys, like the Eugene Levys, some really big powerhouse names in Canadian comedy, in Toronto comedy, and certainly Katherine O'Hara. She is on that list. Now, Second City is planning to somehow pay tribute to Katherine O'Hara. Of course, it's too early right now to say exactly what's going to happen, but certainly the people we've been talking to here today say that she is someone who deserves, a real big tribute, a way to remember her, a way to laugh and share those great memories that so many people have of her. You know, I think everyone probably has a favorite Catherine O'Hara role. I'm thinking of Best in Show right now. That was just a fabulous performance from her. She really could do anything. Back to you.
Yeah, Melissa, for me, I think it was either Beetlejuice or her recent role in The Studio. Oh, yeah. The Studio, I think, might have been her best work to date, and that was just in the last couple of years. Thanks for that. Reaction to the death of Toronto's Catherine O'Hara is being posted online, with everyone from a former Prime Minister to Macaulay Culkin paying tribute to the comedian.
And for more reaction, let's bring in CP24's Arda Zakarin, who joins us in the studio for this. And Arda, she was from Toronto, but people all across the world loved her.
Yes, and she truly represented Canada. She was an incredible ambassador of our country, and rightfully so. So many tributes are pouring in today, including from our Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He says he joins fans around the world mourning O'Hara's death, and he writes, over 5 decades of work, Katherine earned her place in the canon of Canadian comedy, from the iconic Toronto production of Godspell to SCTV to Schitt. Canada lost a legend. My thoughts are with her family, friends, and all of those who loved her work on screen. She will be dearly missed. And of course, one more tribute from Macaulay Culkin. He played her son in Home Alone. Who can forget those movies and that role? He writes, Mama, I thought we had time. I wanted more. I wanted to sit in a chair next to you. I heard you, but I had so much more to say. I love you. I'll see you later. And Pedro Pascal wrote tribute to her as well. He worked with her in The Last of Us. He says, oh, genius, to be near you, eternally grateful. There is less light in my world. This lucky world that had you will keep you always. The one and only Catherine O'Hara. And fellow Toronto comedy icon Mike Myers says it's a very sad day for comedy and for Canada. She was one of the greatest comedy artists in history, an inspiration for millions, and above all, a very elegant lady, sending much love and condolences to her family. Canadian crooner Michael Bublé says she wasn't just a legendary artist, actor, and comedian. She was an ambassador for Canada in the truest sense. Brilliant, fearless, deeply original, and so full of humanity. She made the world laugh, but she also made people feel seen. As an artist, she inspired me more than she'll ever know. She set the bar for what it means to represent your country with excellence and grace, and all without ever losing warmth or humility. My heart is broken for her family, her loved ones, and everyone who adored her, both here in Canada and around the world. If you're grieving this loss, you're not alone. We're all holding a piece of this sadness together. Rest easy, Catherine. Thank you for everything. That was beautifully said by Michael Bublé, and we'll keep you updated on the tributes that keep coming in. Back to you.
Some beautiful words from all her fans and fellow stars. Thanks so much, Arda. It's 5:08. Let's check in on the commute with CP24 traffic specialist Adjoa Nsiah-Yeboah. Adjoa, we are in the heart of rush hour. How are things looking?
We are, CJ. It is very slow on all of the major routes, and then sprinkled in the mix, we have quite a few problems. The QEW has been really feeling it this afternoon. So we'll start with these issues on the Toronto-bound lanes of the QEW. Just as you approach the West Mall, right lane of the highway is blocked, and then you'll find the left lane of the exit ramp blocked. So just a minor bit of a slowdown as you make your way through this problem. And then on the QEW, as you head Niagara bound, this is just as you make your way through rural Windsor. It is the center lane that is blocked at the collision. From that point, the delays continue into Burlington on the QEW Niagara bound through Walker's line. It's the HOV lane. They did have the left lane blocked at the collision, but they managed to move all over to the HOV lane and the left shoulder. And more problems just coming into the traffic desk. This is on the northbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway. Just as you make your way through Don Mills, you'll find the left lane and shoulder blocked following an ongoing collision. On city streets, crews on scene of a collision blocking lanes on Queen, just as you make your way through John.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Well, sending it over to Samantha TC, a senior communications advisor at TTC. Samantha, what is going on the TTC? Hearing that there are snow removal operations on the LRT and some subway lines?
Thanks, Ajwa. So things actually are shaping up to be a really good afternoon. Rails are looking good with delays reported underground LRT. Now, looking at our surface routes, we are still feeling some effects of the snow impacting some of our bus routes. So a few of our bus routes are detouring because of snowbanks piled high, causing clearance issues for buses. So in the west end, the 77 Swansea routes, and in the east end, the 87 Cosburn are diverting around those trickier side streets. Now, looking at service later tonight, just as a reminder for those who take Line 1, we will have a planned subway closure starting at 11 p.m. tonight from St. George to St. Andrew stations during planned station work. Now, no shuttle buses are running for this closure, but we got you covered with plenty of other alternatives. You can take east and west bus and streetcar routes in the downtown core, or the 510 Spadina streetcars running from Spadina to Union stations. Now, that's it for your transit update. Safe travels, and back to the newsroom.
Thanks so much, Samantha. Now, heads up for drivers this weekend. There will be closures on the DVP and Gardner Expressway for the work on the future Ontario line.
That's right. Starting at about 11 o'clock tonight, the southbound DVP will be closed. That's at Bayview. The closure will continue onto the westbound Gardner to Lower Jarvis, and the eastbound Gardner will be closed starting at Bay to the Eastern Avenue exit. That's on the DVP. Crews will be moving the first section of the new Lower Don Bridge to its permanent location. That's exciting. And the bridge will carry Ontario line trains across the Don River and the DVP. So the closures will be in effect until 5 a.m. on Monday. Katherine O'Hara has passed away, but the mark that she left on Toronto will definitely endure.
This is a live look at O'Hara's star on Canada's Walk of Fame downtown. She was inducted in 2007 for achievements in arts and entertainment. O'Hara's accolades include a Primetime Emmy and numerous Canadian Screen Awards and an ACTRA Award. It's 5:11, minus 11 outside. This is Live at 5.
Police are asking for the public's help to find a missing elderly man, and we're going to have the latest on the search for 90-year-old Joseph. That's coming up next. Toronto's in the grips of an extreme cold spell, experiencing some of the coldest temperatures of winter so far.
And these bitter temperatures aren't going away anytime soon. The wind chills feeling anywhere from minus 25 to minus 30 and are expected to continue through the weekend. This as the city tries to dig out from that recent record-breaking snowfall. Still, crews will be out 24/7 to continue those snow cleanup efforts. In the meantime, people are doing the best they can to get around their daily lives in these bitter conditions.
I'm just wearing a lot of layers, really, and we're gonna go skiing later, so that's why I'm wearing more right now.
My toes are freezing, my hands are cold, everything's frozen.
It doesn't really that bad, but I guess I'm used to it.
Super freezing outside, but still we have to earn, right?
It's pretty horrible. I mean, my toes are freezing, my hands are cold, everything's frozen.
You're wearing lots of layers, but it's still not enough.
8 layers, yeah.
8 layers.
Yeah, I got to be out here all day, so.
Yeah, what's the process like when you're getting ready in the morning for a shift like this?
It takes a little bit. It takes about half an hour. One thing at a time, you know.
The city remains under a yellow cold alert, and the city of Toronto has activated all available warming centers. And city crews continue to work around the clock to remove massive snowbanks from streets.
Nearly 1,500 workers have been deployed in 5 dump sites where the snow is being melted and are operating at full capacity. Sunday's historic storm dumped more than 50 centimeters of snow downtown. And Toronto police are concerned for the safety of a missing elderly man who was last seen yesterday in North Scarborough. And for more on this, we are joined live in studio by CP24's Steve Ryan. Steve, what can you tell us about this man that is missing, and especially the concern around his age?
So there are 3 levels of search, level 3 being the most serious. And some of the criteria that allow you to get to a level 3 search right away are the age. So if you're a senior or a young child, and it goes to your ability to take care of yourself, especially in conditions like this. So police are very concerned about this man who we're showing on the screen right now. He's 90 years old. He goes by the name of Joseph, and he was last seen leaving his place in Scarborough at 5 p.m. yesterday. Now, his car was seen going through the intersection of Coxwell and Gerrard at 11:50 last night as well. So that's some distance from where he was headed. And there is no evidence right now to suggest that he was in the car. So the police can only say that his vehicle was seen down in the beaches. So they're concerned, of course, Was he in the car? And if so, where did he go? I did speak with police earlier on, and they spoke about the locations that the Joseph was heading out to before he was reported missing. Let's listen.
He was last seen on Thursday, January 29th around 5 p.m., leaving his home in the Pharmacy Avenue and Glendinning Avenue area. The information that we have is that Joseph was heading to a cafe to buy food in the Kennedy Road and Denison Road area. We are unsure at this time, obviously, if he made it there, but that is where he was heading.
Is a search like this, especially given how cold it is and that there's so much snow?
And he may be mobile in a vehicle. So you've got a large area to search. Where do you start? He was last seen leaving his home, as the officer said, at Pharmacy and Glendinning at 5 p.m. Then his car is seen at another location at 11:50 p.m. There's no evidence that he was in that car. Where was that car going? Where do you start the search? That's the concern for police, and this is why they put the media release out, hoping that people can have the extra eyes out on the road. If you see him, again, we're showing you his picture, or if you see a car that's been abandoned on the road, if he is driving that vehicle for a length of time, maybe he ran out of gas. Or it could be parked somewhere unusually. If you see a car parked for a long period of time, especially if you can remember the blue Toyota Corolla, give the police a call, because if you find the car, you might find the man.
And just a reminder, do you call 911 or is there a separate number to call?
You know, that's a great question. And I think it would depend on the circumstance. If it's the vehicle by itself, you can just call the regular police line or call your local division. But if you think there's an urgency, especially if you see somebody out there wandering about in odd hours of the night, I don't think 911 would be a bad idea.
Okay, better to be safe than sorry. Steve Ryan, thanks so much for this update. And meantime, the search continues for a missing person after a fire at a seniors complex east of Coburg.
It happened in Colborne as at a complex operated by Northumberland County. So flames broke out a little after 4 this morning. 4 people, including a firefighter, were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 1 person still has not been accounted for. About 20 residents have been displaced. No word on a possible cause.
A 22-year-old truck driver from Brampton faces charges after a set of wheels was found on the QEW in Niagara.
OPP say they found a disabled transport on the Fort Erie-bound QEW that was near Glendale Avenue, and they also found a set of dual wheels in one of the lanes. No reports of any injuries or any vehicles being struck. That's good news. OPP says charges are also pending against the owner of the transport. It's 5:18, minus 11, feeling like minus 19. This is Live at 5.
And the big question we've all been asking, how fast will the new Eglinton Crosstown LRT be when it opens? We'll tell you what the TTC chair said today, coming up. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow is highlighting some of the affordability measures for seniors that are included in the upcoming budget.
Funding's being increased by $1.2 million for programs that help seniors with tasks aimed at keeping them in their homes, including house cleaning, financial management, and nursing services. There's also more money for free air conditioners for seniors and low-income renters, mobile library services, and property tax breaks. Now, Mayor Chow had more to say at a news conference today.
This budget also boosts funding for the voluntary trusteeship program, which helps seniors navigate the bills, benefits, the financial decisions when they're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or vulnerable to scams. And they are targeted, by the way. And the extreme cleaning program for seniors whose homes have become unsafe because of mobility or health challenges. Without these support, these seniors face eviction or health emergencies, and that's a $200,000 increase.
Within the next year, more than 1 in 5 Canadians will be over 65, and in the next 25 years, the number of people over 85 will triple. The TTC board chair says the Eglinton Crosstown LRT will not have signal priorities at intersections when it opens.
We've learned the lessons from Finch, and we are making sure that we don't repeat those mistakes. There will be some transit signal priority upgrades that will be happening, but those upgrades will not be fully implemented until May.
The TTC has been looking to implement transit signal priority on the Eglinton Crosstown and the Finch West LRTs after riders complained about the sluggish performance of the latter following its opening December 7th. The TTC says it's currently testing proof of concept for signal priority on Spadina and will roll it out on lines 5 and 6 as soon as possible. The source previously told CP24 the long-delayed crosstown would be open Feb 8th. However, TTC CEO Mandeep Laley could not commit to that date this week, saying it would be irresponsible to give a firm opening date at this point.
What was once a staple for millions of families will soon be a thing of the past. Minute Maid frozen juice from concentrates will be discontinued in Canada and the U.S. this spring. I remember drinking so many of these. Parent company Coca-Cola says it's exiting the frozen can category entirely due to shifting consumer preferences. Last summer, the Minute Maid plant in Peterborough was informed that 38 jobs would be cut due to the change, but the union tells CP24 it negotiated that down to just 6.
And an about-face from Doug Ford and the Conservatives, who are now inviting the media to this weekend's party convention in Etobicoke. The Premier's office originally said the convention would be off limits to reporters, but today they sent out an invite to the press to cover his keynote speech tomorrow night. Now, earlier in the week, Ford defended making it a closed-door event, saying he's in the media enough and he wanted this weekend to be solely for party members.
Change his mind there. Well, it's 5:24 minus 11. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, we'll have more on the life and legacy of Toronto comedian and actress Katherine O'Hara, who passed away today at the age of 71. Toronto-born and raised actress Katherine O'Hara is being remembered tonight after her death today at age 71. She's best known for her roles in the iconic movies Home Alone and Beetlejuice.
E-Talk's Tyrone Edwards had the chance to interview O'Hara several times and spoke to us about his memories of her.
There was a confidence that she had that allowed for her to prop up the people around her, whether they were her co-stars or, or her loved ones. And we've seen the same, the chemistry that she had with Eugene Levy, the chemistry that she had with John Candy, the chemistry that she had with her castmates on SCTV. There's a common denominator there. She was always able to make someone's star shine brighter. And I think that that's because, again, she lived with pure joy.
Not a bad word that I've heard. The time is 5:28, minus 11, feeling like minus 19. This is Live at 5.
This is a live look this hour at the Walk of Fame for Katherine O'Hara as tributes continue to pour in. Stay with us. We'll have more on how she's being remembered by Torontonians next. Iconic Canadian actress and comedian Katherine O'Hara has died at the age of 71. What we're learning about her sudden passing coming up.
An outpouring of love from Hollywood all the way back to her hometown here in Toronto. How fans and fellow stars are remembering O'Hara's life and her legacy.
And an urgent search is underway for a missing senior man last seen yesterday night. The clues Toronto police are following.
And the coldest days of winter are taking over. How people across the city are getting through it, that's coming up.
This is Live at 5.
Hi, everyone. I'm Liz West.
And I'm Sijal Liu. Welcome to Live at 5. Canadian actress Katherine O'Hara is being remembered tonight after her death today at age 71. The Toronto-born and raised comedy giant is best known for her roles in the iconic movies Home Alone and Beetlejuice, and more recently for the TV shows Schitt's Creek and The Studio. She got her start at Second City, Toronto.
And that's where we find Melissa Duggan from CP24. She's there this evening joining us live. It's on Harbour Street with more on how O'Hara is being remembered.
Liz, CJ, I want to show you the tribute that's outside of Second City right now. This gorgeous picture of Catherine O'Hara. There's some flowers here, some candles as well. This is how this comedy legend is being honored as you walk into Second City. There are actually some people going to shows here tonight, walking past this as the show continues here at Second City. While they're also paying tribute to this icon of all things SCTV. This is where Catherine O'Hara launched her career. This isn't the original location of Second City, but at that original location in the 70s, it was a different time. Catherine O'Hara teaming up with some icons of Canadian comedy, Eugene Levy, Martin Short, John Candy, just to name a few, all of them becoming household names, and Catherine O'Hara certainly one of them. She was actually a waitress at Second City at the theater before making her way onto the stage, making her way onto this iconic Canadian show, and then from there launching a career in movies, in TV, a career that stretched some 5 decades. She's been an inspiration for so many who want to be in the comedy world. We heard more about that from Andrew Clark. He's a professor at Humber College's comedy program.
We were lucky to have Katherine come and speak with the students a few years ago. And, I was struck by how, modest she was, because as a critic standing back and looking at her career, she was phenomenally funny, extremely talented, and very, very skillful. She was someone who really understood how to be funny and had so much success. Everything from Christopher Guest movies like A Mighty Wind to Home Alone or Beetlejuice to the early days at Second City, where she started out as a waitress and, sort of worked her way onto the stage. So just a phenomenally talented comedian.
She is someone that has been making us laugh for 50 years. And to hear this news today, when we are in the middle of what feels like kind of a renaissance for her again. Schitt's Creek comes around. She wins an Emmy for that. The studio with Seth Rogen also earned her an Emmy, and she's been doing incredible other work, dramatic work, in shows like The Pain Hustlers, which was a drama about the opioid crisis, and she was a psychotherapist on The Last of Us, which was one of the most popular shows in the world.
Up until today's tragic news, it just seemed like she just had so much more left to give, so many more performances that may have been on her radar. Tragically, that has been cut short. But just thinking about her timing today, her physical comedy, and certainly thinking about Home Alone. Of course, it is January. The Christmas season just wrapped up not too long ago. I'm just thinking of how many households had Home Alone 2 on over the Christmas season, and how that just kind of part of the tradition now, year over year. She's going to be back in our homes. Back to you.
You're right. And sometimes we forget about what someone did in their earlier work, and the fact that the range from Home Alone to the studio, which just came out, she's had an absolutely incredible career. Thanks for that report. That's Melissa Duggan.
Absolutely. And speaking about all of that work, 5 decades entertaining us. So reaction to the death of Toronto's Catherine O'Hara is being posted online, with everyone from a former prime minister to Macaulay Culkin paying tribute to the comedian. And for more reaction, let's bring in CP24's Arda Zakarian. Arda, I imagine there are hundreds, thousands of tributes pouring in now.
She was a part of everybody's childhood, especially with being in Home Alone. And then, she was on everybody's TV screens when they watched Schitt's Creek, another Canadian incredible show. And here she is on CTV's The Social, talking about Schitt's Creek and improvising on it.
It's great working with Eugene and Dan because they're collaborative. And so when I get the outlines, especially in the second season, because we had more lead time, I got to give my input. And then on the day, and then we get the scripts, and I get to give my input and pretend my character. And then on this, on the set, sometimes you just throw things in to try to get wake up the crew and make them laugh. Yeah. But we really are starting with great scripts. But there's a nice loose atmosphere. Yeah, if you want to play with things, we're allowed to. Yeah. It's really nice to have that freedom.
That was from back in 2016, and tributes, as we said, are pouring in from our Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He says he joins Canadians and fans around the world mourning O'Hara's death. Over 5 decades of work, Katherine earned her place in the canon of Canadian comedy, from the iconic Toronto production of Godspell to SCTV to Schitt's Creek. Canada has lost a legend. My thoughts are with her family, friends, and all of those who loved her work on screen. She will be dearly missed. And she was recently working on The Studio and nominated for an Emmy as well. And Seth Rogen, who was with her on The Studio, writes, "Really don't know what to say. I told O'Hara when I first met her, I thought she was the funniest person I'd ever have the pleasure of watching on screen. Home Alone was the movie that made me want to make movies. Getting to work with her was a true honor. She was hysterical, kind, intuitive, generous. She made me want to make our show good enough to be worthy of her presence in it. This is devastating. We're all lucky we got to live in a world with her in it." Sarah Polley also wrote in a tribute to her, who appeared on The Studio as well. "She was the kindest and the classiest. How could she also have been the funniest person in the world? And she was at the very top of her game. There won't be another like her." Macaulay Culkin, who played her son in Home Alone, writes, "Mama, I thought we had time. I wanted more. I wanted to sit in a chair next to you. I heard you, but I had so much more to say. I love you. I'll see you later." And we also have a tribute from Mississauga Mayor Carolyn Parrish, who actually was her teacher while Catherine O'Hara was in high school. And she shared this: "So sad to hear of the death of Catherine O'Hara. This photo is actually more how I remember teaching her at Burnham Thorpe Collegiate in Etobicoke. Brilliant, funny, popular, caring. She went on to win 2 Emmys, a Golden Globe, and 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards. Amazing human being." And Canadian crooner Michael Bublé says, "She wasn't just a legendary artist, actor, and comedian. She was an ambassador for Canada in the truest sense. Brilliant, fearless, deeply original, and so full of humanity. She made the world laugh, but she also made people feel seen. As an artist, she inspired me more than she'll ever know. She set the bar for what it means to represent your country with excellence and grace, all without ever losing warmth or humility. My heart is broken for her family, her loved ones, and everyone who adored her, both here in Canada and around the world. If you're grieving this loss," he says, "just know that you are not alone. Rest easy, Katherine. Thank you for everything." And so he said it best. This is a loss that's felt by every Torontonian, every Canadian. Back to you.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the emotions in those tributes. And I think everyone wants to have a movie marathon featuring Catherine O'Hara now. Thank you, Arda.
All right, let's check on the commute with CP24 traffic specialist Adjoa and Saya Yeboah.
Well, thank you so much, Liz. You know, it has been quite the slow go on most of the major area highways, and especially if you're on the DVP, problems piling up now. So we'll start on the northbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway. This is through Don Mills. 2 vehicles involved in a collision, so that's obviously creating a delay on the approach. And then further north onto the 404. This is just as you approach the 407. It's the 2 right lanes that are blocked with the collision. That's why you're seeing all of these lights, because it's just traffic slowing down. And then northbound on the 404 on the exit ramp to Elgin Mills, left lane blocked. That is following an ongoing stalled vehicle. Just what I was going to say, everything was clear on the QEW. Well, they made a liar out of me. We have problems. These are brand new issues. Niagara Bound QEW, just as you make around the approach to Burloak, it's the HOV lane that is blocked following a collision. And problems I can't see. We had problems on the northbound Brimley on ramp to the westbound 401. Reports that the ramp was blocked. Going to send it over to Samantha TC at the TTC. Samantha, what is going on TTC line 1? Was getting word of some issues at Glencairn. Are they still there?
Thanks, Adjoa. So actually, we are all good. We just got the good news that that delay has cleared southbound at Glencairn. So it is smooth sailing on all of our subway lines, as well as Line 6 Finch West. Now, looking over at our surface routes, we are still feeling some impacts of the snow, with some of our bus routes diverting in areas in the east and west end because of piled high snow mountains. So on the west end, the 77 Swansea buses are detouring, as well as the 87 Cosburn. So those are on diversion, trying to avoid those trickier side streets with the snow. Now looking at service later this evening, we do have a planned subway closure starting at 11 p.m. tonight on line 1 from St. George to St. Andrew stations for planned station work. Now, no shuttle buses will be running for this closure, but we have plenty of other options for you. You can use east and west bus and streetcar routes in the downtown core, or you can also use the 510 Spadina streetcars running from Spadina Station to Union Station. Now, for the latest updates, make sure to check out ttc.ca or follow at TTC Notices on X. And that's it for us. Back to the newsroom.
Thank you, Samantha. It's 5:42 minus 11 outside. This is Live at 5.
And police are asking for the public's help to find a missing elderly man. That is him. We'll have the latest on the search for 90-year-old Joseph. That's coming up next.
Toronto is in the grips of an extreme cold spell, experiencing some of the coldest temperatures of winter so far. And these bitter temps aren't going away anytime soon. The wind chills, feeling anywhere from minus 25 to minus 30, are expected to continue through the weekend. This as the city tries to dig out from the recent record-breaking snowfall. Still, crews will be out 24/7 to continue those snow cleanup efforts. In the meantime, people are doing their best to get around their daily lives in these chilly conditions.
It's been super cold for the past few days, especially since Sunday when it snowed heavy in the city. And I've been bundling up since then. And despite wearing all these heavy clothes, I still feel really chilly.
I have my sleeve on, so like it protects me. But still, I feel everything on my face. Yeah, it's hard.
Think about this winter we've been having so far. I hate it.
The city remains under a yellow cold alert, and the City of Toronto has activated all available warming centers.
And city crews continue to work around the clock to remove these massive snowbanks from streets. Nearly 1,500 workers have been deployed, 5 dump sites where the snow is being melted, and they're operating at full capacity, of course. Sunday's historic storm dumped more than 50 centimeters of the, well, it was white, now it's gray, all over the downtown.
And now to another top story we are following. Toronto police are concerned for the safety of a missing senior man who was last seen yesterday in North Toronto, Scarborough. And for more on this, we are joined live in studio by CP24 Steve Ryan with the latest on the search for the 90-year-old.
And I just want to say, Steve, when you hear of someone that's 90, it's so worrisome, especially in the cold weather. How do police react when it is a senior?
There are 3 levels of search, 1 to 3, 3 being the most serious, and in a level 3 search, the police can pull out as many resources as they need. Criteria fits when it's an elderly person or a young child. So in this case, this man is 90 years old. He was reported to have left his house at the pharmacy in Glendenning at 5 p.m. yesterday. We're showing you his picture now. He was headed to a destination at Kennedy and Denison. Police do not think that he arrived at that location, that his car was seen at 11:50 p.m. at Coxwell and Gerrard. It was a gray, bluish Toyota Corolla. Now, the police do not have any evidence to suggest that he was driving that car. They just know that the car went through that intersection. So you can imagine there's a large area now that they have to search, and the problem becomes where do you start the search and where do you end the search, because he could be anywhere, and he could be separated from that vehicle as well.
You know, when I see photos of someone missing, I try to make a mental picture, but if I saw this person or someone I thought was them, what do I do?
So I would suggest that if you see or saw this man recently, or you are actively seeing him, you would call 911, of course. Or if you were to see his car, mobile, 911 would be the call. If you recall seeing him a day ago or hours and hours ago at a location, the non-emergency line would probably be the best route, or if you saw the car parked. But if you saw this man at any time recently, 911 would be the best course of action, because the police can get to that location quickly and then conduct a search in that area. Because right now, it really is looking for a needle in a haystack, because they've got all kinds of large areas to search from. Now, I did speak with police earlier on today, and here's what we were told. Let's listen.
I can tell you that his vehicle was last spotted at approximately 10 to 12 last night in the Coxwell Avenue and Gerrard Street East area. We cannot confirm at this time if he was driving that vehicle, but his vehicle was spotted.
And Steve, you did mention 3 different locations police are pinning down right now, making the case not so straightforward. What other difficulties are they considering here?
Well, the main difficulty is the 3 different locations, and he hasn't been seen in any of those locations other than the first one, that being when he left his home. So as the officer just said, his car was seen down near the beaches at midnight, but there's no suggestion that he was actually in that car. So again, he could be anywhere. Finding that car, even abandoned, would help the police as well, because it would give them then an area to start their search from. So if you've seen the car, or you have seen this man recently, or any time in your travels, certainly do give the police a call.
Absolutely. Well, Steve Ryan, thanks so much for joining us in studio with more on this. And of course, if you see that man, call police. Meantime, the search continues for a missing person after a fire at a seniors complex east of Coburg. It happened in Colborne, a building operated by Northumberland Country. Flames broke out a little after 4 this morning. 4 people, including a firefighter, were taken to the hospital but are expected to survive. 1 person still hasn't been accounted for. About 20 residents have been displaced. There's no word on a possible cause.
A 22-year-old truck driver from Brampton faces charges after a set of wheels was found on the QEW in Niagara. OPP say they found a disabled transport on the Fort Erie-bound QEW that was near Glendale Avenue. They also found a set of dual wheels in one of the lanes. No reports of any injuries or any vehicles being struck. And OPP say charges are also pending against the owner of the transport.
It's 5:50 minus 11. This is Live at 5.
So how fast will the new Eglinton Crosstown LRT be when it opens? Well, we're going to tell you what the TTC chair said today. That's coming up next. The TTC board chair says the Eglinton Crosstown LRT will not have signal priority at intersections when it opens.
We've learned the lessons from Finch, and we are making sure that we don't repeat those mistakes. There will be some transit signal priority upgrades that will be happening, but those upgrades will not be fully implemented until May.
The TTC has been looking to implement transit signal priority on the Eglinton Crosstown and the Finch West LRTs after riders complained about the sluggish performance of the latter following its opening on December 7th. The TTC says it's currently testing proof of concept for signal priority on Spadina and will roll it out on lines 5 and 6 as soon as possible. A source previously told CP24 the long-delayed Crosstown would open on February 8th. However, TTC CEO Mandy Blally wouldn't commit to that date this week, saying it would be responsible to give a firm opening date at this point.
And more than 1,000 workers are out of a job today after GM Oshawa cut its 3rd shift. Unifor says more than 700 direct jobs at the plant are affected, plus hundreds more at companies that supply the factory. The union says the layoffs are the result of GM shifting operations to the U.S. amid President Donald Trump's trade war. GM originally announced the move last May on the heels of Trump's announcement of the tariffs on Canadian-built vehicles.
Unifor chairperson Chris Waugh says workers want to see the federal government strike a deal with the U.S.
We need a trade deal with the United States of America, not China, not Korea. You know, these vehicles flood our market. They're cheap vehicles. And when they talk about setting up auto plants for these cheap vehicles, it's plug and play. It's not thousands of people. They come in crates, they come in boxes, and people just plug things in. They're not building the entire vehicle.
The plants will now operate with 2 shifts. It's 5:55 minus 11. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, we'll have more on the life and legacy of Toronto comedian and actress Katherine O'Hara, who passed away today at the age of 71.
A heads up for drivers this weekend. There will be closures on the DVP and Gardner Expressway for work on the future Ontario line. Here's a live look at the roads this hour. It's still open, although going slow, but starting at 11 o'clock tonight, the southbound DVP will be closed at Bayview, and the closure will continue onto the westbound Gardner to Lower Jarvis. The eastbound Gardner will be closed starting at Bay to the Eastern Avenue exits on the DVP. The closures will be in effect until 5 Monday morning.
And a story we've been following, Katherine O'Hara has passed away, but the mark that she left on this city will endure. This is a live look at O'Hara's star on Canada's Walk of Fame in downtown. She was inducted in 2007 for achievements in the arts and entertainment. We know her well. O'Hara's accolades include a Primetime Emmy, a Golden Globe, numerous Canadian Screen Awards, and of course, an ACTRA Award. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
And we are continuing to follow the story of Catherine O'Hara. We've been talking about it all day. Liz, what is your favorite Catherine O'Hara movie or show?
As I was saying earlier, I watched the recent series, The Studio, and it's some of her best work. And of course in Schitt's Creek, where she won the Golden Globe for her. Like, she's just gotten better as she aged, and she's really a pioneer when it comes to females in comedy. And I know a lot of people are reeling from the news.
Yeah, and there we go. A live look at her Walk of Fame, the star. Stay with us. CTV News at 6 is coming up next.